Good morning, South Rock. Welcome to another weekly devotion of the story. This is week 17, chapter 17, where we read about the fall of Israel. Both kingdoms, Israel and Judah, the northern and southern kingdom, going into exile, being taken over by both Assyria and Babylon. And so we've been in a couple weeks of this kind of fall from grace, right? Of watching Israel go from united under David, united but struggling under Solomon, and then really falling apart under Rehoboam, and then just evil really taking over in the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom going back and forth. So we've gone through this cycle the last couple weeks of just going downhill fast. And we really hit a low point now where both kingdoms, the United Kingdom of Israel, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom now are going away. They're being taken over by outside forces. And while I read through this, what really grabbed my attention was what Jeremiah says. So Jeremiah says this on page 244, if you got one of these books. 244, the Lord has done what he has planned. He has fulfilled his word, which he decreed long ago. He has overthrown you without pity. He has let the enemy gloat over you. He has exalted the horn of your foes. Now this is tough language, right? To hear a prophet say this to his people, to say, God had this planned. He told you if you didn't follow him, he would throw you away without pity. He would let people come and take over without remorse. This would be the end of it. And so these are really harsh words. The Lord has done what he planned. There is some nice things that we, separate from this, can take from that, and that is the Lord is a God of his word, right? If God promises something, he's going to follow through. Even if it's to the detriment of his people, he will follow through with what he has said because our God is consistent. Our God is always never changing, which is nice. But what I really want to read is what follows this, where Jeremiah writes this: "Yet this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. I say to myself, the Lord is my portion, therefore I will wait for him." So I love that. Jeremiah has just witnessed the most cataclysmic, horrifying thing to happen to the people of Israel. His nation has been taken over and his people have been taken from their homes. Right? His king has been killed or taken captive, and all this is happening. And he says, God had told you this. If you don't listen and repent, this will happen. And he says, so all of this is without pity. This is crazy and terrible. And he says, but I have hope, because our God is also one who has compassion. Our God is also one whose faithfulness is great. And we can also depend on him in this. And so I love this snapshot of hope within the midst of this terrible thing. People are losing their homes. They're being taken to a foreign country. All these things are happening. And God says, I'm still here though. I still have compassion for you. I still have mercy and love for you, despite these things happening. And so that's really the question and the thought of the day is, what is something in your life that was bad that God can or has used for good? And how can you rejoice in that? And maybe you're in the midst of bad right now, and it's hard to say or hard to think about what the good is, where the good can be. So maybe you need to pray, God, I'm in the midst of it. Use this later. Use this now. Use me now to find joy and to help someone else find joy as well, because you are a God that is compassionate, that is merciful, and is consistent. So that is all I have today and for this week. So we'll see you next time.